some people. The actual gall. There's not a day that doesn't go by that I do not think the gall of some people or the gall of this guy. At a time whenever you could have really realistically brought everybody together, but for whatever reason you want to do it so stupidly, Obama and the Democrat Party, I take it, they want to do it this way where their agendas and things they practice and go for and their ideologies target people, and they don't bring people together. They don't make you feel what they're saying, you know what I mean? They make you hate what they're saying, or they make you realize that there's an ideology design with the target on all of us out here who's not with it, with the stupidity of not sequestering people's government, suppressing their votes, frustrating their basically frustrating our lives. He's screwing us over, and right now this is what Obama's doing. He's going around telling these guys that they they can't possibly not let me pick another justice whenever I've already picked so many justices, and then I killed this Scalia justice who was the most staunch guy possibly besides I'm sorry, I have to say it this way because I forget the gentleman's name, but he's obviously a conservative justice, the black guy on there, not the Roberts guy, but the black guy. He would probably be the next target if they couldn't just leave him up there and leave it vacant like that. The way they have it, they would be trying to target the next Supreme Court justice that they will kill off in order to have this bamboozler who goes and destroys the plane in 2012 just so that their Republican conservative military views cannot be orchestrated or put into our elections with everybody else's votes, so they were suppressed in 2012. And this guy now is going around the country telling all of these military people what for an ideology. He's pushing the pen for anti-American and hate American rhetoric that he now has worked a way where he thinks he's so clever on how he can make it sound so colorful and so beautiful. The way he says, you must destroy your own country, military. You must lie down and you must take the punishment and endure the destruction and be a sacrifice for ice and wind and for all of these people, and we'll chastise Israel when we say ISIL. We'll say Israel. Let's look at Israel. This is Obama. He's all of the evil pieces of shit all worked up into one character that thinks he's smooth, but obviously ain't smooth enough to not realize that he just ushered in the room or making way for probably like the real antichrist that the Bible talks about. So they want to talk about the Bible like is it's like a myth or in mythology, or it's some myth or something. But then all these true events take place that the Bible described and said, and instead of treating it like a story, like it really is, and that it's got a timeline and a date where it will come down to its exact statement, its exact stating will come to forth, will come true. So instead of they want to look at it all like spiritual and all like, oh, you can't be a Christian, but you can be a Muslim, but you can't be a Christian and talk about the Bible and this and that and treat it like it's any truth at all. For whatever reason, they have to hate the truth that much and what people say and what the Bible says. So they take they discredit they discredit that instead of looking at it like a story that it should be looked at. Let's look at it like a myth instead of what it really is. And what I mean is, it's interesting. It's more interesting what the Bible says than it's not. But we're by whatever affects people's consciousness. Oh, the Bible is taboo. Oh, well, you can't believe in Jesus Christ, or you can't study the Word of God and study Jesus. Crying out loud, that's wrong of you. You know. So I'm just saying that they batter people's brains and their thoughts and stuff, saying that and just act like there's not an actual real like antichrist. Like these guys like Obama are a type of antichrist, but they're not the antichrist. The antichrist comes at the end and has it all planned out. You can say like God or with God, he's got it planned out. See, but he's got the opposite. He's got the same agenda as God, but he's doing the other side, the bad things, and God's doing the good works. So anything positive or good comes from God. Not that He doesn't challenge you, but it's just that He does. He has a positive end result for you, and the devil does not. The devil plans on dragging you down, dragging me, or anybody he can, down this big, huge hole with him, and that's basically where Obama's at. But he thinks maybe he's the Antichrist or something, or he's the top being or soul or whatever, but he's not. He's just ushering the way for the real Antichrist. And I think the real Antichrist is going to be in my vision. I see the Antichrist. I've seen the vision of him, and he is 9 foot. He's like 9 foot tall. He's an alien. He comes back. He comes to Earth like he was from some other planet or something like that, and makes contact. So then people are like, oh, there's really UFOs or whatever, this and that. I mean, in my opinion, that's how he gets ushered in too. Also with brilliant idiots like Obama. Obama, you're such a brilliant idiot, giving Jane Fonda a humanitarian award, and I mean, all these other people who are whatever on your list to get some kind of award. I'm like looking at them now, like Jane Fonda. I already knew that she had done such a bad number on the military that she won't ever be forgiven for it. I don't know what the answer would be for Jane Fonda if she wanted to come clean and just be forgiven and seek true forgiveness from the military and Vietnam veterans and what she did. I don't know what she would have to do. Kill herself? She have to give up all her money to a good, noble, conservative cause, Republican cause, and then kill herself? Like, disembowel herself, like the Japanese people, sumo warriors do whatever. Like their people do when they disgrace themselves and dishonor themselves, they kill themselves over there in Japan. They disembowel themselves. And I think they're at a point where they probably need to be disemboweled. Anyway, so he's going there. He's telling all these people about Donald Trump and that he's a piece of garbage. And I don't even know how many the troops are saying, um, you know, uh, go Trump. In their head, they're thinking, yeah, because at least they gave the troops the ability and the right to go and vote. But here in 2012, I mean, Obama has stayed on top of doing every dirty thing that he could do to run the elections, to control them, to sequester people, to suppress their votes, to screw people who he knows is a conservative. So when we look this up, C47 plane blown up with troops voting in 2012 because the Democrats, and this is one of Obama's orders that he thought of and they thought of to do because they know that the majority of the military makes up a good majority of Republicans or conservative type of people. They work for a living as it is. They do what they're told. They don't fuck around. So why should they have to fucking pay out of their ass, or any of us or anybody else fucking pay for somebody's stupid fucking Democrat bullshit? Okay, when you're lying to our face and then you blow up all of their votes, so that when they did another vote, when they did, then they did. They sent another plane out there to the Middle East to gather our troops' votes wherever all they were in the world, and they brought one back, but it took 2 weeks, and it was too late. By that time, the military vote was discounted because of Obama. And he's going around right now because he's so right and he's so smooth and he has such a right to be such a classless, low life scumbag to go and do that and then act like he's your friend, like he really appreciates you, military. You really got to listen to him and what he says to you about somebody else, whether it be Trump or Bush or whoever the fuck today is that Obama thinks he's got the right to bullshit and jerk your fucking dick and act like he's fucking got the right to blow fucking tremendous blows of fucking puffs of jumbling smoke up all their fucking asses and sit here and go and tell all these military people about about Donald Trump or some other shit like that. I think this guy is one of the most disgraceful people that I've ever seen in my life. Well, let's see some of this. So I seen there was a they crossed out where it said right there. I'm going to put in for a country would likely be strong on national security. It's traditionally a GOP strong point. Further, even in modern social media, the more prevalent male blogger voices you tend to see are conservative. Granted, that's purely anecdotal from my own perspective, but now, via OTB, some research from a few years ago compiled by political scientists Jason Dempsey and Bob Shapiro seems to indicate it's more of an even split, similar to the civilian population at large, than I would have suspected. Yeah, right. There's going to be more of your fighters, of the people who actually fight for a living or are in combat more, are going to be the conservatives, and the people who sit back um, and do other shit, really kind of leaning towards non-military type of shit. I don't know if they're trying to um, but they help reinforce and help the people who are doing all the fighting keep their bullets in their weapons and um, in their airships or whatever. They got a jet or something that's got its military hardware out there. They keep them supplied and up to par or whatever. But I don't really believe that they're split like that. I think that they're not being an American if they are for Democrats at all. And I used to be like one to think, well, you got to give people their own right to think and be and whatever. You can't sequester somebody, for lack of intelligence or being too smart. In our case, it's for being too smart and telling people what they're doing, why the debt's so large, and why, you know, they're helping the banks out, but they don't help any of us out because the banks are helping them to destroy our economy because the banks will still be there to help them control or maintain or whatever when they get to a global economy or a global money system. So you see the U.S. dollar replaced with a global dollar at that point. So then you're also talking about splitting it also if that's what they think they want to be a worldist or whatever the hell you call that. So they're not for America. They're for something else, somebody's idiotic agenda. And we seeing just absolute radical. The only things that he does and the way that they do it is Obama so stupidly does every single thing he ever does. He's just one of the most stupidly presidents I've ever. I think he takes the cake for stupidity and stupidly. Um, he's only got people divided, and if you ain't like united to be against him, just for the fact that everything that he did and said and went to fight for splits everybody up naturally. You don't think that's a way to conquer society? You're not pissed off at that and just want to go vote for Trump or the opposite or whatever him just to throw that shit in that punk's face? I do. You know, I wanted to get even with him for all along, but they made it personal with us because they've been attacking us all along, and now they've done it so perversely that there's no way we're getting out of not being an enemy. That you're not my enemy, and we're all in the same military or something. You know what I mean? If you're a Democrat and I'm a Republican, and we're in the military, we're enemies right now. We are not the same. We are, our politics define us to the point where really it doesn't sound like there's really too much savviness about any of it. It sounds pathetic. It sounds demeaning, condescending. It pins me up against black people or other people of different color and not even knowing their true person if they mean well or not. And almost to the point where it seems like you're not even giving people a chance or opportunity to mean well or do well anymore, or even think that way. They have to think, oh, low, dirty, and conniving. So if I do wind up isolated in a place where I drop out and I'm off the grid, it's because I don't want to be ripped off for the things, for me not wasting my time whenever I really wanted to know how to live like that or be able to live on my own without other people. If they're just going to do me dirty, I'll get to a place on my own if I have to where nobody's like that and nobody can do me dirty and nobody has dirty politics. I'll get there though. But this is hot air news. It is true that the upper echelons of the military tilt right. My own research confirmed that about two-thirds of majority and higher ranking officers identify as conservatives as previous studies found. But that tilt becomes far less pronounced when you expand the pool of respondents. That is because only 32% of the Army enlisted soldiers consider themselves conservative, while 23% identify as liberal, and the remaining 45% are self-described moderates. These numbers closely mirror the ideological predilections of the civilian population. Okay, so hold on here. I'm gonna tell you something. I was a student body senator for Umpqua Community College in 2001, and me and the student council body there went for instruction up in Portland. at Portland State University. So they, whatever they did, they gathered resources and knew how to put people in the right place at the right time. What they did with us is they prepared us and planned us to be in the student body one way or another for a period of time. You know, not just a year, but they wanted us to be there for a while. If they're going to be teaching us, um, if they're going to take us to Portland State University and instruct us in the leadership conference, the Pacific Northwest Leadership Conference, I attended in 2001. So, if the yes, I'm just you know, I had a point, damn fucking business shit that self-described moderate. What did I stop it? Alright, I'm gonna read the whole thing again. It is true that the upper echelons of the military tilt right. My own research confirms that about two-thirds of the majors and higher ranking officers identify as conservatives as previously was found, but that tilt becomes far less pronounced when you expand pool respondents. That is because only 30% of the Army's enlisted soldiers consider themselves conservative, while 23% identify as liberal, and the remaining 45% are self-described moderates. These numbers closely mirror the ideological predilections of the civilian population. I'm not so sure that it does. I think I was trying to make a point about something. I don't know, but being raised in the military though, I don't. Excuse me. I think this is. Don't get me wrong. I think that it's good research. I don't. I'm not gonna try to discredit what you say. And in this report, I think that they did a good job um, with making their point. They did a good job making their point. But I'm just telling you right now, I do not believe that for 1 second. Yeah. In C47, um, 7 plane in D-Day, and rescue in 2012. B-22 Osprey. Yeah, I don't know if I got it wrong. 2012. Let's see, 2012 Cherry plane crash. Plane crash. So, with um, oh, military votes. Thousands of U.S. military votes uncounted or missing. 2012. So I'm gonna save y'all a lecture here. Absentee ballots and some notes. Did a plane crash in Afghanistan destroy the clean balance origin? This item about plane crash in Afghanistan destroyed clean balance and the lines. Fact check. Military. Did a plane crash in Afghanistan destroy the clean balance of U.S. military personnel? Afghanistan plane crash burns military F-2 balance. How coincidental. The military is voting almost 8-1 for Mitt Romney. Now tens of thousands of ballots and other precious mail to soldiers have been lost. What are the odds? So this about a plane crash in Afghanistan destroyed 15 ballots military personnel began circulating in October 2012 with the suggestion that such an incident following the ballot of a group that supposedly votes heavily in favor of one candidate was too coincidental to be believed. I'm telling you the truth that this really happened, and I told you that it took them 2 weeks to get their ballots to get them to vote, have a second vote, and by then it was too late to count their votes in for the election, so their votes were not. The Associated Press did report that the transport plane whose cargo included mail for U.S. troops, including some absentee ballots, crashed in Shindid Air Base in western Afghanistan on 19th of October 2012. However, it was not yet been verified whether any of the absentee ballots carried on that plane were destroyed. The absentee ballots carried on that plane were blank ones waiting to be distributed, not already cast votes being returned for counting. If necessary, the affected states should have sufficient time to redistribute new ballots to replace any destroyed ones. Associated Press account of the crash read as follows. Federal officials say that absentee ballots being sent to U.S. military serving Afghanistan may have been burned in a plane crash. A top official in the Federal Voting Assistance Program this week notified election officials across the nation that transport plane crashed in Shinded Air Base on October 9th. So we'll stop right here. We'll ask this one question. Okay, so you blew up the plane with the absentee ballots. You sent one right back right away? Or was that how you sequestered their votes? Because I have been told, right, and believe that they destroyed these people's votes on the way here, but maybe they stopped them from being able to vote at all. You know, there was something that was odd about it. So you don't send a plane somewhere where it's gonna be shot down or have it mysteriously, I use the quote fingers when I do that, mysteriously just blow up or vanish somewhere for no good reason. And it has ballots with people's names on it, one way or another, for them to vote, for them to vote or had already voted. Whatever the case is, that's what we're talking about right now, and it's just so far out there. I don't think Obama needs to go around addressing the military anymore. He needs to be blowing smoke up their ass and telling them anything about anybody else when this guy has blown the economy and everything else. So I don't believe the Associated Press for whatever reason they're willing to take a dive for this guy too, and they're willing to take a dive for all these pukes, these wannabe world leaders and stuff, George Soros's and These evil pieces of garbage. I guess Mitt Romney's in on it too. He's that he's that classless. Mitt Romney's that classless of a loser. He really is. The crash resulted in the destruction of 4,700 pounds of mail inbound to troops serving in the area. Federal officials in their email to state election officials said they did not know if any ballots were destroyed. They also said the lost mail was limited to one zip code. But they recommended that that election officials rescind a new ballot to anyone who requested one, since the first ballot may have been destroyed in the crash or fire. And then, how are they supposed to know? I mean, immediately that they were that they lost their ballot. You know what I mean? So Snuff, I don't believe them. I think they're liars. So it says thousands of votes from our military. Let me examine. Cast. Cast aside thousands of votes from our military troops uncounted or missing. So now we just went to one story of them covering up and trying to derail me and throw me off and try and make me look like I'm an idiot. What I'm saying here, right in the middle of me saying, oh man, Obama, why is he doing this or that? And now we're talking about they're actually uncounted or missing. So it went from a point where they're one way or another, their ballots were destroyed somehow in a fire. So new ones need to be made up. Hurry in enough time, get it there fast so they can vote. Because we need to hear the voice of the military. We don't sequester them and fire them and whatever. Who's a court martial them if they talk all Republican. They can talk all the Democrat bullshit shit they want out of their ass, but as soon as they talk conservative and get caught, they're done and had. Yeah. So I mean, it's do as I say, not as I do with all of this stuff. So as far as I'm concerned, I've already made up my mind that I don't like Democrats. I don't want to see another one in there. So military votes cast aside in 2012 elections, according to the Naval Enlisted Reserve Association, scores of military absentee ballot cast in the 2012 elections will not be counted. U.S. military personnel and their families are outraged. Where the hell is the country's moral compass? Stated the mother of a 25-year-old Marine who served in Afghanistan. I'm liking the story already. The more away you get from the associated piece of garbage press, they're just, like I said, for whatever reason, they're in it for their own demise and their own destruction, for whatever to help Obama. Whatever Obama is doing for them. So the military mail service is notoriously slow, and lawmakers have said that it could be almost 2 months after the election after ballots even arrive to be processed. End quote. We write to express concerns over another serious failure by the Department of Defense of safeguard the voting rights of our overseas military service members, which we believe could result in the imminent disenfranchisement of thousands that are fighting for you, by the way. Putting their life on the line for you every single second. Stated a letter sent to the Defense Department Secretary Leon Panetta by Senator John Cornyn. A lot of politicians deserve a good ass whooping. I mean, a good, thorough ass whooping. Serious. God bless you, Budweiser. God bless you. For that right there. I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna say that for a second. God bless you. Tim, that made my day. Thank you. That made me happy. When I was, I don't know how I felt. I know I didn't feel shitty. I felt like talking, but now you just made me feel awesome. You made my day, and I thank you. God bless you. Anyways, since anybody since John Conran, Republican of Texas, Kelly, Republican New Hampshire, John McCain, Republican Arizona. At least McCain was in on this one. This is good. This is something good that John McCain does. If any of us hate John McCain, just remember, away from some of the excessive things we think are over the top that he's done with the Democrats, just remember some of the very functional things that John McCain is about, and that is at least telling the truth whenever it comes to sequestering or suppressing the military's vote. And then you got this piece of garbage that's going to talk to all of our recruits, all of our officers and stuff directly. You know, he's got to go talk to them personally, exactly, and tell them what ideology bullshit they have to think that they're gonna get knocked in the head, like how he talks about Christians. Oh, Christians! Well, some Christians here are just gonna have to change the way they think. You better, or else. So, anyways, add to the incident on October 19th, just 2.5 weeks before the November 6th election, when a transport plane crashed. Remember, we read that one report on Snopes, and I just wanted to say my opinion on that. Well, they lead when they tell you about that story, they still start the story by saying, "Oh, coincidence." An incident, a transport plane bound to or at Shandon Air Base, destroying almost 5,000 pounds of mail. How? Is there any way we'll ever know exactly how that plane blew up? Are they gonna say it was blown? It was sabotaged by the Taliban. The Taliban did it. It wasn't Obama. Obama didn't sequester them or suppress them. No. Please let him go and yes, Obama. Go talk to the Air Force. Go talk to the Navy commanders. You go talk to the U.S. people and tell them what the your Ukrainian strategy is, Mr. Obama. Mr. Obama, that Mr. Obama, Bam. Are you gonna have him name a place over here, a city or province after you, Mr. Obama, Bam? It's some land and Baba Bam, Tabana Bam, Talabana Dalabam. Just turned almost 5,000 pounds of mail. 5,000 pounds of mail. I can tell you probably possibly what about 8 pounds of mail feels like, but not no 5,000 pounds of mail. Are you kidding me? That's an incredible, insane amount of mail. Imagine if you got jumped and you just got bam hit with 5,000 pounds of mail. You know how much that is? You wouldn't be able to breathe or get out of it. It would engulf you and kill you. That's how much mail that is. There's no way you can go through 5,000 pounds of mail. If you just jump and hit with it right quick, you die. It'd squash you. It would squash you like a bug quick. Including absentee ballots being sent to U.S. military serving in Afghanistan. Election officials recommended sending the ballots just 2.5 weeks before the elections, bear reports. Michelle Malkin reported in an article published at townhall.com, despite a federal law mandating that every base establish a voting absentee office, the The 2009 Military and Overseas Voter Empowerment Act. The Pentagon reported this summer that it could only contact such offices on half of the military's bases. In Wisconsin alone, this election cycle, at least 30 municipalities failed to send absentee ballots to members of the military before the 45-day election deadline. So do you get that? I didn't just talk about a plane to variations of ways how they suppress the military vote. It just keeps digging deeper. So you're gonna report and say, oh, those people weren't sequestered. We don't treat our military that way. We didn't do that, you know. And at the same time, it's just throwing people off to the fact that you've got your own individual elections departments failing to know how to send. We're in a war. We're in a war. We've been in a war for fucking 10 fucking years. Okay? You've been in a war for 10 fucking years, long enough to where you can talk all these fucking bullshit and talk all these stupid people into believing that the war is for naught and that all our troops, they fought for nothing, no cause, you know. 9/11 was just bullshit we made up over here. There's no real enemy out there that wants to kill us or kill you, you know, and they're not dumbing our military down and going around and spreading propaganda to our military all the time, left and right. So, I mean, it's just disgraceful. It's deserving of them to take the um, Japanese type of suicide where they disembowel themselves to death, do it in front of people, and go off somewhere in private and do it. But God, go kill yourself, please. It's the only dignified thing left for you to do. So, 45. So now they're suppressing these people like that. 45-day election deadline. Okay, experts, veteran groups, and advocates for soldiers agree that a minimum 45-day mailing standard is necessary to allow sufficient time to get military absentee ballots home. But the federal government has done nothing to enforce the Military and Overseas Voter Empowerment Act. In fact, according to Malkin, the Obama administration has actively worked against pro-troop voting protections effort by suing to stop Ohio's military enfranchisement reform. So, okay, the bottom line is that our military, those men and women who risk their lives to protect their freedom, those most deserving exercise their right to vote, are being prevented from doing so. This is unconscionable. Absolutely unconscionable. That is the only dignified thing for you Democrats to go and do. And Obama won't do it because he's one of them. He's one of our enemy. So he won't ever in a million years ever admit that he did wrong whenever he fully believes he was right and he's right. You know what I mean? Let's lie. Let's lie. We're gonna lie about that, you know? Now let's give the Democrats enough time to come up with some other way how they can act like they didn't sequester these people. I'm having a hard time with this with this site. TheExaminer.com is giving me a hard time scrolling around. So I just wanted to say that I was trying to gather my thought for a second, and I'm glad I was able to go back to my thought, and that is that we've been in a war for 10 years for, with their enemies. They're not a fake enemy. They weren't just made up. They're a real enemy. 10 years. We had 10 years. 10 years to figure it all out. And instead of doing more to support our military, and to even up to this point, let them say whatever the hell they want. I mean, if they're not gonna get nasty and vile anyways, why the hell are you treating them like they're a nasty, vile human being whenever they're just showing intelligence and how what their perspective is and their gathered opinion and their developed opinion on things and where they're coming from. So now not all of us can hear each other's words, you know. And like I was gonna tell you, before I go, I want to tell you this experience that I had. This was another guy that was a Democrat in the Army. He was in the Army National Guard, and I'm in Oregon. I'm a student senator from Umpqua Community College, going to the Northwest Pacific Leadership Conference. And I run into this guy in the hallway, and this guy's telling me that uh, the Black Hawk Down happened under George Bush, the first guy, senior or whatever. And I was like, man, you're full of shit. You know, I know that George Bush Sr. had a world initiative and a global agenda on his mind and what he wanted to do, but he would not have ever have shit on the Marines and the military the way that these disgraceful Democrats do. Hillary Clinton seriously told the Gold Star mother, no, I won't meet with you. No, I won't come and see you. That's what she told them. Well, she was supposed to be the first lady and then wouldn't allow our military into the White House with their uniforms on because their uniforms are a disgrace, right, Mrs. Clinton? Is that what you're telling me? So still the media and other people wherever they're coming from in this country are still supporting her and that and her to become president because you want this continued shitting on my military, on our military. You want the government and politicians forever treat it like the 300 or whatever there and have them all go and sacrifice them, and they will. They'll fucking fight to the end. You know what I mean? Some of these fucking grunts are fucking sworn killers. I mean, to the end. You know what I'm saying? But I don't want to sacrifice my fucking military off like that. I want to protect them and let them do their mission, what they need to do, and that's conquering the terrorists and Taliban and this ISIS that Hillary and Obama created, helped rise up out of the smoke and ashes of Benghazi or whatever that I'm hearing now. It makes sense, but still worse villains than ever. So we've been in a so this guy was sitting there. He was in the hallway, big telling me, "Oh, yo, you're full of shit." And I mean, he was fucking getting pissed. And I was like, because I knew I was right. And I was like, dude, back off. This is a typical way how a conservative deals with a Democrat. Democrats like, you fucking piece of shit. Talking this shit. And the conservatives like, well, wait here. No, you're full of shit. You're not even telling the truth. Look at my face. Does my face look like I'm off? Like I'm do. You know what I mean? Go look it up. Benghazi happened when a Democrat was in there. Black Hawk Down happened when a Democrat was in there. The first time the World Trade Towers were blown up, Bill Clinton was in there for 10 months. The USS Cole was hit while a Democrat was in there. I mean, a lot of shit where they told the military to stand down or hand down, don't lay down, don't do nothing. Iran takes one of our vessels, and it looked totally staged to me. I was raised in the military, so I was raised around. I've seen CBs before. I've seen different naval grunts, Marines. I was raised with Marines, around Marines. So I don't believe what I saw. You know what I mean? When I was raised in the military, come to the point where I'm at now in my life, and remembering what I know about what I know, and seeing that, there is no way you're gonna convince me that that was not a setup or a hoax of some kind. And these other shootings and stuff, I know that it was all too real because, like I said, I lived in Roseburg before. I went to that college. I was a student body senator there before. Worked on things with the school. Um, so I know that the incident is very real and that the traumatic event really took place and it really exists. But I'm just wondering how much of it is actually staged, where like it's real, it really happened, but it was a setup so that they can send these other Democrats out here to talk to you, because that's their goal and their mission is to disarm us all. So when the military is talking about protecting the Second Amendment and the cops are too, they're pretty much talking about their self first because they don't want to be out in a war and to be disarmed, and that's what you're talking about. You're talking about disarming the military next and just having them lay down and die. You know what I mean? So, they're for whatever reason they'll put it off like it was somebody else that caused this mess, or maybe that guy was trying to say, oh, that was because of George Bush Senior, why Black Hawk happened. You know what I heard? I heard that the U.S. Marines were just there in Somalia right before that Black Hawk Down bullshit happened or whatever. And then when they sent the army in there, they caught the army off guard because they set a trap for the army. They should have sent the Marines in there to lead the front of the fight with the other fighters and had the Marine general in charge. I liked Schwarzkopf. Schwarzkopf was a good U.S. Army commander. He was very intelligent, so I do not discredit him or take anything away from him. Say, if you want to say, opposed to the Marine commander, I said, who I believe should be in charge of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. But Schwarzkopf proved to me that there is dignified Army servicemen out there that could do that. But out of the two, there's only two guys there in the whole command that could command the whole operation like that successfully. And that would be either the Marine or the Army guy. And those are typically people who deal with land, sea to land operations, air operations, and everything, joint operations. So that's why they can conduct all the other militaries together like that. So just telling people exactly how all that stuff operates, and I do not appreciate this piece of garbage going around telling anybody anything. And really, truly, you know, we're not seeing color. We're not seeing like black and white people or black people or in between people. We're looking at people and we're trying to figure out where you are, people. Are you are you on the good side or are you on the bad side? If it came down to it, would you die for good? Or would you be a sacrifice for something evil? I don't really understand, but we just uncovered a lot and it was very revealing. I'm glad that I read that second article, and thank you to Michelle Malcolm for that and the other person that was in the report that wrote that report. Forgot her name, I'm sorry. I really meant to credit you in here, but I might have got off on not doing that when I was reading your report, and I'm sorry, I apologize because of the first report that had the Associated Press in there. could have quite possibly have thrown me off, so that's why I didn't give you credit, and I'm sorry, I apologize. I totally meant to do that.